I looked Mrs. Higgins in the eye this morning and sold her a transmission flush for a car that ran perfectly. She was telling me about her grandson while I typed up the bill. I interrupted her to say the fluid looked burnt and that she was risking a $4,000 failure. Her hand shook as she handed me the visa. She didn't just pay, she thanked me. She walked out, clutching that receipt like a shield. That's the job. I'm not here to fix cars. I'm here to extract cash. Let's get one thing straight before you hand me your keys. That guy in the clean uniform holding the iPad? That's me. And I'm not a mechanic. I couldn't tell you the difference between a spark plug and a drain plug if my life depended on it. My title says service advisor, but that's a lie. I'm a salesman, and unlike the guys selling cars out front, I don't have to convince you to buy a new Radai. Just have to convince you that your current one is dying. Here's the math. My base salary is garbage, barely enough to cover gas. I feed my kids on commission. I get a cut of every dollar on that repair order. So when you walk in hoping for a $50 oil change, my survival depends on turning that into a $600 invoice. You aren't a customer, you're a paycheck. Take a look at the floor. It's polished, brighter than a mirror. The Wi-Fi is fast, the leather chairs are soft, and that Keurig machine is pumping out free caffeine. You think that's hospitality? Wrong. It's a sedative. If I put you in a greasy garage with flickering lights, they be on guard. But here, you're comfortable. You're sipping a latte I gave you. That's not kindness. It's leverage. It triggers a gut instinct to pay me back. You feel obligated. That free coffee makes it just a little harder for you to look me in the eye and say no when I slide the bill across the table. And the uniform. Notice I don't wear grease-stained coveralls like the guys in the back. I dress like a pilot or a surgeon. Crisp shirt, tie, name tag, perfectly straight. When I talk, you listen, because you're wired to trust the guy in the tie. I play the doctor, and your car is the patient. You don't argue with the surgeon when he tells you an organ is failing. The setup starts at your car door. I'll walk you around the vehicle and point out the obvious stuff. Wipers look dry, I say, running a finger over the rubber. You nod. Tires look a little low on tread. I point to the wheel. You nod again. I'm not checking the car. I'm training you to agree with me. It's a rhythm. Nod, nod, nod. Once I've got you bobbing your head, I drop the upsell, the preventative fluid flush. It's the dealership goldmine, because you can see a bald tire, but you can't look inside a metal hose to check your brake fluid. You're blind. You have to take my word for it. It is pure profit, minimal labor, and since you're already in the habit of agreeing with me, you'll sign off on it without blinking. You think you're buying maintenance? You're buying expensive air. But you guys got cynical. The internet made you smart. You stopped trusting my mouth. So we weaponized your eyes. We send the video straight to your iPhone. The tech is down there with a flashlight, acting like Spielberg. And here is the dirty little secret. I've seen techs keep a generic spray bottle of water in their back pocket. Before they hit record, they missed a bone-dry shock absorber. Under the harsh lead of a camera phone, that water glistens exactly like fresh hydraulic oil. The tech zooms in, shakes the camera, and says, "We have a major leak." It's a special effects shot, and you're the only audience member. You see that wet spot on your iPhone, and your brain shuts off. You don't see water from a spray bottle. You see your car bleeding to death. Then comes the digital report. It's color. Green is safe. Red is death. The trick, I can mark a yellow item as red with a single click. A cabin air filter with a little dust, I mark it red. Suddenly, it's not just a dirty filter. I pitch it as toxic mold blowing into the back seat where your kids sit. A list of minor maintenance items turns into a ransom note. And once I text you that report, I ghost you. I send the text, and I let you sit there. 45 minutes of silence. I can see you from my desk. I watch you shifting in that leather chair, checking your watch, looking at the door. The coffee has gone cold. I let you marinate in the fear. Your mind is doing the work for me. You're calculating your bank balance. You're imagining the car breaking down on the freeway in the rain. You aren't thinking about whether the price is fair anymore. You're just thinking about how to make the problem go away. By the time I finally stand up and walk towards you, I'm not smiling anymore. I walk slow. I let the tension build. I sit down across from you. I don't speak. I just let out a heavy sigh, rubbing my temples like I've got a migraine. Look, it's ugly under there. I say, keeping my voice low. That leak we saw in the video. It's soaking the subframe. It's worse than we thought. You shift in your seat. How much? You ask. Your voice sounds weak. I slide the tablet across the table without saying a word. $3,000. You stop breathing. You flinch. That number is a bomb, and I just dropped it right in your lap. I see your eyes darting around, looking for an exit. But here's the real game. I never expected you to pay $3 grand. That number is just a bomb I throw to shatter your composure. I need you terrified, so that when I call my manager and miraculously drop the price to $2,000, you don't feel ripped off. You feel relieved. You think you won, and that is exactly when I win. You've stopped breathing. I can see the panic setting in as you stare at the invoice $3 grand and do the mental math on which credit card hasn't been maxed out yet. You are doing exactly what I want you to do. You are not looking at the line items. You are not asking why a water pump costs $800 in labor. You are just feeling the weight of the number. This is the breaking point. If I push too hard right now, you might snap and tow the car away. So, pivot. I lean back and cross my arms. I look pained on your behalf. I tell you that I hate seeing this happen to good customers. I tell you to give me a second. I tell you I am going to go fight for you. I slip into the manager's office and kick the door shut. We don't say a word about your car. We talk about the Giants game. We debate getting Chipotle or subs for lunch. I check Instagram. I give it exactly 5 minutes just. Long enough for the silence in the waiting room to cook you. I am not fighting for you. I'm letting that $3,000 anchor drag you to the bottom of the ocean, so anything less feels like a life raft. I walk back out, looking exhausted but triumphant. I have a red pen in my hand. I sit down and slide the paper back to you. I crossed out the 3,000. I wrote 2,000. I tell you, I had to twist his arm. I tell you, I waived the diagnostic fee. You don't see that I just charged you $2,000 for a job that should cost $1,200. You don't see the robbery. You see the saving of $1,000. You feel relieved. You feel like I am on your seat. And just like that, you're ready to sign. But sometimes, you're tough. Sometimes, you look at the 2,000 and still shake your head. You tell me you can't do it. You tell me it is too much money. That is when I stop being the nice guy. That is when I pull the pin on the emotional grenade. Look, I say, dropping my voice so the other advisors can't hear. I saw the car seat in the back. Is that for your daughter? You nod. If that was my little girl, I let the sentence hang there. I let the silence do the heavy lifting. I wouldn't let her anywhere near this vehicle. Not with that caliper seizing. If that locks up on I-95, doing 70, I wouldn't be able to sleep tonight. I'm not selling parts anymore. I'm selling you the illusion of being a good parent. I'm weaponizing your love against your bank account. It is ugly. It is dark, but it works 9 times out of 10. And if you still hesitate, if you say you just don't have the cash right now, I smile. I pull out a glossy brochure. Don't worry about cash. We have partners like Sunbit or Synchrony. It is 0% interest for 6 months. It is only $50 a month. Less than your cable bill. I slice the pain into tiny, digestible pieces. We call it salami slicing. You forget the total cost. You stop seeing the $2,000. You only see the $50. It feels free. You sign the paper, and the bank pays me instantly. The debt is your problem now. That is how the machine works. From the moment you drive in, to the coffee, the video, the silence, the anchor, The guilt and the finance in it is a perfectly designed system to separate you from your money. So how do you beat me? You have to strip me of the home field advantage. Start by killing the momentum. When I walk you around the car, pointing at wipers, don't nod, cut me off. Tell me you are here for the oil. If I find anything else, do not touch it until you see it. That brings us to the two most dangerous words in the auto industry. Show me. When I come back with a laundry list of disasters, don't look at the prices. Demand the evidence. If I say the air filter is shot, tell me to bring it to the lobby. If I say the brakes are metal on metal, tell me you want to see the measurement tool next to the pad. You'd be amazed how many critical repairs vanish when I have to physically walk back to the bay to get a dirty part. I'm lazy. I'll probably just say you can probably squeeze another 5,000 miles out of it. You need to separate the truth from the ups. Look me in the eye and ask, is this safety critical? Or is this maintenance? There is a massive difference between a bald tire, which is a death wish, and a fuel induction service, which is just margin for the shop. If primera admite it is maintenance, ask if it can wait until the next oil change. That question pops the balloon. It turns my now or never emergency back into a boring calendar invite. And if I hit you with a massive number, stand up. Leave the building. Get out of my controlled environment. Go sit in your own kitchen. Google the error codes and call a local independent shop. You'll clear your head and realize the ticking time bomb I described is just a minor valve cover leak that's been there since 2019. Telling you this because I've seen too many people empty their savings accounts for fluids they didn't need. I've seen grandmothers crying over credit card bills because a guy like me told them their engine was going to explode. Cars are machines. They are metal and rubber. They break. It happens. But do not fix your car with your emotions. Do not fix it with your fear. Fix it with logic. Next time you see a guy like me standing there in a crisp white shirt with a smile that doesn't reach my eyes, Mrs. Higgins, remember the transmission flush she didn't need? Drink the coffee. It's usually pretty good. But keep your hands in your pockets and, for God's sake, don't let me drive.